Hey everyone, I'm Jack. I just wanted to give you an update on my cacti and succulents, the grow rack and the grow lights for the end of September. So you ready? So yeah, it's the end of September and I have a lot of plants to get through, so I'm going to do this fairly quickly and not spend a whole lot of time on each one. First up here is my bishop's cap, Astrophytum myriostigma. It was my very first cactus and it's doing pretty well. I don't see really any signs of growth, but I also don't see any signs of dying. So for me, that's a win, doing well. This is the old man of the Andes, Oreoscereus celsianus. And this one I love. There's something about this cactus with his furry little hair up here on the top. I just love this cactus. I love them all, but this one for some reason especially. Then next up is the golden barrel, Echinocactus grucioni. And it is in a giant 1-gallon pot. Needs to be transplanted, but I'm probably going to wait until next spring. With the winter coming up, I'm going to try and put all these into dormancy, and I don't want to transplant anything right now. So for now, this is just going to stay in this giant 1-gallon container. And then the Opuntia prickly pear. You saw that video where I planted this and got those tiny little spines in my finger. I suspect that this one has rooted, but I'm waiting for signs of growth. And so far it hasn't given me any, but again, like the bishop's cap, I don't see any signs of dying, so I think it's doing pretty well. Next to that is the silver arrows, the Mammillaria nihapensis. This one's doing well. It's getting more of those little fuzzies on them, so I think that's a good sign, doing well. And then down here in the front is the old lady cactus, Mammillaria nahiana. This one's doing well. Alright, on the succulent shelf, we have a donkey ears baby trying to root. We have a sedum firestorm that is putting out roots. It's a leaf from the planting on one of my other videos. So that one took about a month to get those little roots out. But that's happening, so that's pretty exciting. And then back there, not a cactus or a succulent, is this creeping Charlie, the Swiss ivy. And up in the front here we have watch chain. It's not doing very well. I don't quite know what to do with this little guy. I've moved it to a bunch of different kinds of light, a bunch of different areas on the shelf. Not quite sure what to do. It's trying, but just not doing so well. And then we have the Echeveria chroma here that you saw the video of me trying to rescue this poor little fella. And it's doing pretty well. I think some of the wrinkling is a little bit better than it was, but I'm not quite sure yet, but we'll see. Behind it is another Echeveria chroma that I've noticed today is a little bit stretched out. And so I may have to raise it up towards the light to have that stop. Behind that is, let me see if I can get a better angle for you. And behind that Echeveria chroma is a Pearl von Nürnberg. And that has really gotten the color back. When I first got it, it was very pale. But now under these lights, it's getting some color. And then let me come back here. The chroma. See if I can turn the chroma for you. It looks a lot better as well, getting a lot more color. So these lights have really helped snap that color back on these two. And then on the next row in the front is a Aloe Hemsley's Blue. And that one too, when I got it, was very pale looking, had no color at all. And now some of that color is coming back. Behind it is a Aloe Mini Bell. And that one's looking really well. No signs of growth on that one, but also no signs of death, which is a good thing. Behind that is a orc's ear, and that one's doing well. That one I struggled getting the light right. I put it up on the prickly tribe shelf, the cacti, and I think that light was too intense for it. The tips were getting kind of bleached out, and it does have some color now, but it's not quite as bleached out as it was. Coming up on the next row is a mini jade. Get you some better light here. And that one is one that I took off of the one in this row towards the back that I'm going to show you. And behind it are three, let me get you some better light. Behind that are three crown of thorns, Euphorbia millii. And those are doing well. I believe they're rooted. The leaves at first were all wrinkled up, but now I can see on this one here that it's unwrinkling, unfolded, so I think they're doing pretty well. Behind that is another Euphorbia millii. That one's the Kronos. And when I transplanted that one that I have, this was kind of growing up next to it, so I just kind of plucked it off and put it in a pot, and it's doing really well. It has definitely rooted. There were roots on it when I pulled it out, but now it's really actively growing. I can see that. And then in the back there is the jade plant that I took the front one off, that I showed you, the little baby. So that's the mother right there, doing very well. And then in this little pot, let me get better focus here, is a tiny little elephant bush. And I've been really struggling with this one to try and get it to grow. I sort of plucked it off when I transplanted the elephant bush that I have, just to see if I could get another little plant and possibly keep that one kind of small. It's been moved around with different lights as well, having a hard time, but it's trying. Kind of next to that in the back is an Echeveria harmsii. Whoops, get my hands out of the way. Echeveria harmsii, and it's one of the ones that has the fuzzy leaves. It's very cool. Not looking well when I brought it home, and has really picked up shape, color, everything. It was not doing well. Behind that is a Echeveria ramillet, and when I brought it home with this Echeveria, it was all closed up on itself. Get you a better light here. All closed up on itself, and now it's sort of opened up and looking quite well. Color, when I brought it home, just like all the other ones, was pale, and now looks very well. Here's a shot of this one with better light. Looking good. Back in the back is two variegated elephant bush, and they are finally doing well. I moved it around trying to find the right light, just like all the other ones, and I think this is actually working out really well for them. Right here in the front of those is another Euphorbia millii, doing well. The leaves are starting to unroll. They were rolled up on themselves and looking a lot better. And in here I have three sempervivum hens and chicks. I don't quite know which ones they are. I think these are Emerald Empress, but I'm not really sure. And then this one here, I don't know what it is at all. Those were gifted to me, so I'm not sure what those are. And then here that I have kind of set off into this side in the corner in the shadows, find the right light here for you, is a Haworthia luspidata. Boy, those are hard to say. Let me put him in the light here temporarily and get the right light. This Haworthia I had to kind of tuck off in the shadows on the side over here, right over here. Gets a little bit less light than the other areas. When I had it under the light kind of directly, it wasn't doing very well. There's some babies popping up on it. Right here is a baby, and kind of tucked in here's a baby. So I'm pretty excited about that. Needs to be transplanted, but again, I think I'm going to wait probably until the spring. I don't want to mess around and doing a transplant now and then in a couple months, drop the temperature and have them go dormant. So for now, this one's just going to stay in the original pot. And now let's go down to the propagation shelf. All right, so here we have 3 cuttings of Sansevieria, a variegated one that I'm trying to get those to root. Behind those are some Pearl von Nürnberg leaves. Whoops, a little bit blown out here. Hold on. There we go. Pearl von Nürnberg leaves and some, whoop. You know what I need is a pointer. Let me get a pointer. Hold on. Here we go. And then right here are 2 pink sedum leaves that I'm trying to root. And these are tiny little orcs ear that I'm trying to get those to root. So far I don't see any signs on those, but I haven't given up hope. And here are 4 cuttings from a succulent that was gifted to me that I have outside, doing fairly well. It's showing a little bit signs of stress outside, so I may have to move it, get it out of the sun that it's in, full sun. And here in Arkansas, our full sun is intense, so I may have to move that. Up in the front is a Kalanchoe longiflora coccinea. Boy, that is hard to say. And that's doing fairly well, waiting for it to root. And then also behind it is a leaf that I'm trying to get that to root as well. And in here are the Dracaena roots that I planted quite a while ago, waiting to see if something will pop up out of here. So far, nothing. I have a jade leaf right here that I'm trying to get to root. So far, I don't see anything. Behind the Dracaena are 2 little jade leaves that I'm trying to get those to root. So far, there's no signs from there. Behind that are 2 more pink sedum leaves. Hoping for roots on those. So far, I don't see any. And behind that is a pot of Echeveria leaves. I believe these are chroma. And so far, I've got one here. Let's see. This one right here is rooting. You can maybe see those little spider. You can maybe see those little spider roots coming out. So that is one that's rooted. That's pretty exciting. And that leaf is just about dried up, so I'm hoping it has enough energy to sprout a little plantlet on there. I think it will if it's got the roots coming out. And that's pretty exciting. I actually just now saw that. And these are 2 silver dollar leaves that I'm trying to get to root. So far, 0 luck on those. Those have been there for well over a month and a half, and just not seeing anything from those. The wrinkled up leaf is a pink sedum. Not doing well. I don't think it's going to make it. In the front here, I might have to blow out the background so you can see it, is a Sansevieria. And that one's doing very well. I have it kind of on the edge of the light. It might be getting a little bit too much. I may have to move that. Behind it is a Kalanchoe leaf that I see roots on. There we go. You can kind of see them sticking up there. Little white, looks like little antennae on snails. So there's roots on that one, and I can't actually remember which Kalanchoe that is. I am terrible at that. I forget to label them and I just throw them in a thing of dirt, and then later I don't know what they are. And behind that, in my upcycled berry container, is 1, 2, 3 chroma leaves that all 3 have actually little plantlets on them. The one sort of here in the back in the middle, this one is the biggest, so that's very exciting. So I have 3 confirmed chroma plants right there. 4 counting the leaf that has sprouted. And then the other one right here is a orc's ear, and I don't see anything from that. But I definitely am going to have some chroma in this little tray, this little dish, little terracotta dish here. I have some variegated jade that need to be planted that I was waiting for the ends to kind of callus up, which they have. And then those need to be planted. Let me make sure that they are while we're here. Yep, they're ready to go. And that is a pretty cool way to get those to dry out, to callus out. Just set them in a terracotta tray, and it just keeps it all nice and contained, and just wait for it to dry up. Here are 2 more little plantlets off of 2 leaves that I'm not quite sure what they are. They were sitting on the ground when I went to one of the nurseries, and they actually had roots sticking out of them, so I just picked them up off the ground and brought them home, laid them on some dirt, and now I have 2 little plantlets. So I need to kind of look those up and see what those are, and that's what they look like. It's not an echeveria, but I'm not quite sure what that is, so I'll have to look into that. But that's kind of exciting. I have 2 plants there. So that is the propagation shelf. There's a lot going on in there. A lot of time waiting, like some of them a month and a half to get any kinds of signs of life, any roots or little plantlets. So just patience pays off with that. It does take a long time. Some of them aren't going to make it, some of them are, but it's just going to take a while. So if you propagate them, just be patient. They'll come, and if they don't, you haven't lost anything. Just keep trying. Now I have also some more outside, so let me take this outside and then I'll show you what I got out there. Now here's the mother plant of those 4 that I told you a friend gave me, and I was saying that it was outside in the intense sun. It looks okay. It still has a lot of green on it, but it has a lot of dying on it too. I think that it might be getting maybe too much sun. The person that gave it to me said that it sits in full sun and that it should be okay, but I think maybe where I have it, it's just not doing very well. So I started those 4 cuttings inside to try and maybe keep this thing alive as far as offspring through the winter, and then I can bring it back out and try again, maybe in a different location. But I think I am for sure going to move this one. And then behind that one on the deck is a Euphorbia amelia. This is the Kronos, and this one's in bloom again. When I did the video on that one, it had sort of an apricot bloom. Not sort of, it was definitely apricot. This one has started off real pink, and I don't know if it's going to turn apricot afterwards, or if this is just kind of a different color bloom and that's what happens. I'm not quite sure. I've never seen these before. So there's that one, very pretty. And now let me take you around to the front deck, or technically the back deck. I'm standing on the front deck, and I have some more out there, so let me show you those. Okay, so here are the ones on the back deck, and I have to apologize for the air conditioner that you can hear in the background. It is fall, but it's still hot, so that thing runs quite a bit. Here's the comfrey that you saw me plant. Not doing well at all. I don't know what's going on with it. I think maybe it's not in a good location. The ones I have in the bed in the ground are doing much better than this one in the pot. So something has gone haywire with this one. And then here is the dragon fruit cactus. Doing very well, still very green. And I'm still kind of looking for signs of growing on it, but I don't see any, but it does look a lot better. This is a moonflower, not a cactus, not a succulent. My wife's aunt, gave this to her several years ago, and it sat out on the deck and we sort of just forgot about it. Filled up with snow and ice and all kinds of horrible things, and just every spring it pops back to life and does very well. It's supposed to bloom in the fall, so we're going to kind of keep our eye open for that. And then here, not a succulent, not a cactus, This is a bergamot. I'm trying to grow this one out so that I can overwinter it. It also got neglected, and I had 3 of them. This has now died down to just this one, and put it in this pot, watered it, fertilized it, and it's doing very well. So I think I'm gonna be able to keep that one going. The 3 Dracaena plants that I have rooting, I think those are doing well. I think they've finally rooted as well. And I don't, yeah, they are. I see growth right here. So right here. So that's doing very well. And here's the Kalanchoe. And this one is a Blasfeldiana, showing off its beautiful blooms. They're still good. They lasted a long time. Just showing off here in the fall. And then here's another Kalanchoe. I do not know what this one is. It was a gift from a nursery that I went to. And when I very first started collecting succulents and cacti, I saw this one, and it reminded me of a plant that my mom used to grow. And they gave me that cutting. I came home, put it in some dirt, and it did well. Put it in some soil, I mean. I always say dirt. Dirt, soil. But it's doing very well. Definitely has new growth on it and some better color. Here's an Echinacea. I don't know the name of this one. Putting off its pretty bloom. And this thing has bloomed kind of continuous for, gosh, probably 3 weeks now. It was one of the very first ones I got, again, when I started kind of collecting. And that was just about a month ago. And it has just bloomed nonstop since. Has a baby coming off the side there. Doing well. Here's a Echinacea Pearl von Nürnberg. And so that's the update on all the plants, cacti and succulents, and non-cacti and succulents that I have. Let me go back inside, and I have a couple things I can share with you about the grow rack and the lights. Alright, so here we are back inside, and what I wanted to share with you is this new bottom. If you'll remember, when I very first set this up, I took some planks off of a pallet and laid it up there and thought it looked all snazzy. Thought that it spruced it up is what I said. But what happened was that as those slats began to dry without being on the 2x4, each slat sort of twisting and warping and bending, and then it would kind of raise one of the pots and put it off to the side like this, and it just kept getting worse and worse. And so I found some plastic at my work, the same plastic that's used to mount these computer fans, and it actually matches the color of this rack pretty perfectly. It is almost the exact same color, so I got lucky with that. So if you see that older video that I did and think that's going to be a good idea, think again, because it's not. I didn't think about the wood drying more inside the house and actually twisting and warping, causing all these to move. And so that's what's on here now. I'm really happy with it though, better than with the slats. I think it makes it look a little bit cleaner, and it gives it a level surface for all these plants. The other thing I did is I changed these bulbs out from compact fluorescents to 3000K LED bulbs. See if I can go up in here and have you see that. That's what they look like. Very bright, I know. But what I decided was I would give the cacti a little bit less intense light during the fall and keep the cycle the same time. So it's on for 12.5 hours. It's just I've lowered the Kelvin, the degrees, the color of the light from that bright 6500 down to 3000, and just to kind of give them, I don't really know if this theory is correct or not, but my thinking is just to give them a little bit less intense light to kind of simulate that it is fall. And then in the winter I'm going to cut that cycle down, instead of 12.5 down to maybe 8, maybe 10, somewhere in there. I haven't quite decided on the time, but that's what's different on this, the Spiny Tribe, like I call them. That's what's new on their shelf. And then down here on the succulent shelf, there's the same amount of light. I was thinking about turning off 2 bulbs. There's 2 switches, each switch controls 2 bulbs. So I was going to turn off 2 and then lower that intensity. I don't think that's a good idea on these. They grow a little bit faster than the cacti, well actually a lot of it faster. And I don't think having less intense light would be good. I've already got one showing signs of stretching out, this chroma right here that I showed you, and I don't want the rest of them to start stretching out. And I can never remember that word, elevated, elevated, I call them stretched out. Yeah, so I'm gonna leave this the way it is. I am gonna put plastic on here like I did up on the top shelf, and then move down and figure out what I'm gonna do down here on the propagation shelf. So there you go guys, just an update on the cacti, the succulents, the grow rack, and the grow lights. If you liked it, click the like button for me. Consider subscribing to see more videos. And until the next time, thanks for watching.